Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing amazing. Can you hear me well? Please, it will take a few seconds until everybody can see me and hear me, I guess. But I'd love to know if you can leave me something on the chat. There are a ton of questions for Dylan. We have an amazing episode today with someone who has been able to benefit big time. He was able to switch jobs and 5x his compensation. And I don't know if it is just as important or more important or less important, but he became a VP at 27 years of age. And I meet a lot of senior professionals who are in their 30s and their 40s, and they struggle to actually get the recognition, the role that they deserve, and the responsibilities and the title that they deserve, and the compensation as well. So we have someone, a dear guest of mine, Dylan Sewell. He's going to be joining. He just came in here. And we have a ton of questions in the comments, and I would love to actually share them with you. So I will be going through the comments and seeing what those questions are. But if you want to repeat your question as well, feel free to put it here in the comments so that I can actually show it on screen, and then we can ask Dylan any questions that you have. Okay. So without further ado, we have Dylan over here. Dylan, how are you?
Hey, Brian. I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing amazing. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you immensely. You know how much I appreciate you. Dylan, what's going on? You've come a very long way. When we met, how long ago was it? A few years ago?
I think it was about 3.5 years ago now.
3.5 years ago.
2022.
Wow. So right after the pandemic, seems like something way in the past, but it's only been a few years. And what's happened since then, or where were you at when you first found me? What was happening in your life, with your career, with your job?
Yeah, so I was at the time, I took probably longer than most people to get through college. I was working while in school, paid my way through college. I worked a few different jobs, a few sales jobs, and I kind of broke into e-commerce a little bit, launching different Shopify websites and things like that. And I had started my own agency and had worked with a few different brands, but I wasn't making any like real money at the time, and a little bit here and there while I was in school. But when I finished my degree, a lot of people have had this experience when they get through college and it's not necessarily the golden ticket that it's promised to a lot of people. It's like, a lot of people, they think they're going to get their degree and they're immediately going to have like a $80,000, $100,000, $120,000 plus per year job right out of school. And that wasn't necessarily the case for me, even though I did go to a good school. I went to a school that, a lot of people in high school, they have to get like a 4.0 to get into that school. So I was in a situation, 3-4 months after college where I really wasn't making much money. I was stressed about money and I knew I had a lot of potential, but it just wasn't, it seemed a little bit dark from that perspective. And anyway, then I met you, and the rest is history. It's kind of funny. On my end, I can't see, like, normally when you're in a call, you can see how many people are in the chat. So I can't tell if there's like one person watching or 200 people watching, but
it depends, because we're streaming to a bunch of different platforms. So we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. So a bunch of different platforms, and most people are working at this moment, so they might actually watch it as a replay. But they did leave a lot of comments with questions for you. Okay. So thank you for providing some context. One of the questions that came from Howard was, how much was skill versus timing versus luck? Like, what would you say to this? You're talking... to answer this, maybe to help you frame this, how many interviews did you land?
Oh man, so that was a few years ago. I think I sent you all the stats at the time. I know that there was 1 week where I landed 25 interviews.
Crazy.
And I ended up telling, there's actually kind of a funny story. I don't know if I actually told you this story.
Oh my God.
the week that I had the 25 interviews,
Yeah.
um, there was one day specifically where I had like 8 interviews stacked into one day,
How many?
and
How many?
I think it was like 7 or 8 or something
7 or 8
crazy.
interviews in one day.
Well, if you have 25 in a week, yeah, it might have been more than that
Some,
actually,
some,
but
so most people cannot stack 7 or 8 interviews in a whole year, and you stack them in one day. Beautiful.
yeah, so it's like a funny story. The employers that I ended up going with, I had a call with them and then another big call like right after that. And so it was like literally normally you would want, at least a 15-minute buffer between interviews. I don't
Yeah.
recommend doing them like totally back to back, by the way. Because if you end up with an interview that's going really well, then you're gonna you know what I'm saying, you're gonna miss the next one. So
It's going to go over for sure, right? Because they schedule for 30, it goes for 45 or 1 hour. If they schedule for an hour, it goes for an hour and 15. So yeah, give yourself some
yeah,
buffer for
so
sure.
the people I ended up going with, I had a call scheduled with the COO of that company, and it was going really well. And I think he forgot that it was only a 30-minute call. He thought it was like an hour call or something like that. And so he's hammering me with questions, and then there was this other job though that I was very interested in, and we're starting to run overtime, right? 5 minutes pass over the next interview, and I get a text message while I'm on the call with this guy, and I get a text message from the HR of the other company, and it's this like big organization. I don't want to name the company right now, but it's like a very well-known organization, and it's like, hey Dylan, so and so, our CEO is currently on the call waiting for you. And so I guess the CEO of this other company is like literally on the call, like where the hell is this kid? Like, and so then I'm like, oh, crap, like how do I balance this in a way that doesn't piss everyone off? And so then I'm like, hey man, to the guy I'm on the current call with, I'm like, hey, look, I have another call. I'm so sorry. Like I have to get off, but I'd love to continue this conversation. And he gets like red in the face, like he's a little upset, and he's like, "Okay, no problem." And I'm like, "Okay, sorry, man. Okay, I gotta go." Then I go to the next call.
But wait,
I
wait,
go,
wait, wait. Just wait. Sorry. Hold that thought for a second. And this was the organization that ended up giving you the job offer?
yeah,
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
talk about reverse psychology, right? Like, like, hey, I mean, listen, I'm busy, right? Like a lot of people want me, right? So anyway, you were not bluffing. You were actually doing it for
No, I
real.
was not bluffing. I would
Yeah, yeah,
not bluff that. That's
yeah.
like you probably could lose a job.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, would not recommend that. But yeah, so then I hop on that call with the CEO, and he's like already pissed off, and they're like trying to convince me to move to Los Angeles. They're like, "Oh, the role is like 100% in LA," and I'm like trying to convince him. I'm like trying to convince him to let me stay. Where was I living? I was living like 3 hours north of LA at the time, but like I was trying to convince him, no, it's all good. I could do this remote. Trust me. Like I'm the most like, and he's like not having it. He's like this kid's like 10 minutes late to the call, and he's trying to convince me to like he doesn't have to move in person. Yeah, no. And so that one didn't work out, needless to say. I don't think it was the right fit anyway, but
Yeah.
so that was pretty funny. And then later that day, that evening, I was emailing with the guy who I ended up working with, and he's like, "Hey Dylan, I loved our conversation, even though you had to end the call early." And I was like, "Wait, just to clarify,
Yeah,
like
you went over like by
I
half an
didn't,
hour.
I didn't, yeah, I gave you an extra like 20, 30 minutes or like whatever it was, and And actually, it's funny. I thought he understood that. They still ended up hiring me, but literally like a year later, like it came up in conversation, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, you like left our call early. It was weird." And I was like, "Dude, no way." I like, and I actually went back on my calendar. I looked through because I actually told them that I was like, I had like 25 interviews, multiple job offers. I chose you
Yeah.
guys. Um, well, it was more than 25, but like that week. And he's like, I don't believe you. I actually showed him my schedule of like all the companies I spoke with. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's a long story. But
No, I loved it. Listen, for
yeah,
everybody watching right now, or if you're watching the replay, let me know if you watch the replay. I want you to know that. So I was waiting for Dylan to come right now. Like, we may have a similar situation here. So he comes. We didn't prepare this at all. We have no idea what we're going to talk about. I just want him to give you as much value and clarity as possible. And I'd love to do the same thing for you guys. You're looking to switch jobs. I want you to really, you know, make progress and be able to land the interviews and receive the job offers and understand what it is that you need to do differently. And we're planning an event that is starting next week, which I'll talk to you about in a moment, which is amazing, which is exactly what Dylan went through a few years ago. Um, but I don't know exactly what Dylan is going to share. So I am fascinated by, as you can imagine, there are so many stories in 25 interviews. So some of them I haven't heard myself, but there are some that I will tell you in just a moment. Dylan, there's a question from someone. I don't know what your name is. Unfortunately, your LinkedIn has, and this is one of the things that we need to talk about as well. Dylan, you can speak to this because the role that you ended up landing as a VP, you didn't actually apply for the job. They found you. And
that's actually a
this,
really good point. Yeah.
what we're seeing here, you see how it says LinkedIn user over here? So
Hmm.
this profile is actually misconfigured on LinkedIn. So you want people to be able to see your name. You want people to be able to see your face. I mean, you might have a real reason as to, I don't know, if you're an FBI agent, CIA agent, you don't want anyone to know what you do. If there's a valid reason, sure, I understand why you might actually want to hide it. But since you're actually engaging with us, you're watching live and you're commenting, you want your profile photo and your name to be seen by others. Otherwise, people cannot connect with you, right? So the question is, thank you for sharing your story, Dylan. One question, Dylan. How much more prepared and advantaged were you from Brian's program compared to not going through it? What was your experience before, I guess, and what was your experience after?
It was just kind of a crapshoot before. I mean, for sure, in theory, like you could. I think the challenge is like when you don't have the right approach or the right coaching or the right understanding of how to navigate the job market. Unfortunately, there's like you're not most people don't know how to do that by default. You know, maybe 30 years ago it was oh, show up. My dad actually still tells me this. It's kind of embarrassing. Like when I've struggled in the past on the job market, he would say, "You know what you ought to do?" He would say, "Print out your resume, take a nice photo of yourself, like a yearbook picture or something, and see if you can get into the office. And what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to be really determined, right? And then you're going to go in, shake their hand, and be all assertive or whatever, and then you're going to hand them the resume and they're going to love you, and that's how you get the job." And I'm like, dude, this is not the 1980s anymore. So unfortunately, that's kind of like no one has any coaching or understanding. And even the current job market, like it's different from how it was 5-10 years ago. Even though back then we had social media. I don't know when LinkedIn was invented, but like probably in the last 10 years or whatever. But even in the last 5 years, the last 3 years, it's changed dramatically. And colleges are not. Some of them have like a little mini job applications course that they'll teach you if you're in school, but even then, it's really not what it should be. So people are ill equipped. And so to answer your question, like I think I applied for like 50 to 100 jobs, and I was very frustrated. I think I had like two interviews and then it kind of died down. And my mom was like, "Well, you could talk to my friend Lascelle, is Lascelle, right?" And anyway, I don't want to out anyone or whatever, but And I was skeptical. And anyway, we made this connection, and you turned out to be totally awesome. And it came through a mutual friend, and I was like, yeah, let's just do it. And I don't. I hope I'm not veering off too much from the
No, no,
your
it's perfect.
question,
I love
but
listening to you. Amazing. Whatever you want to share. There are no filters. I love when people are just very, not very, when they're 100% transparent, when they just share whatever it is that they want to share. So I love listening to you. So, okay, there's a question here from Kevin. There's another question also from, might be the same person. If it's okay to ask, what was your LinkedIn posting strategy? What kind of content? How often did you post?
well, if I'm being totally honest, I've only gotten it more into LinkedIn posting recently. Is LinkedIn more of a aspect of the program now than it was like a year or two ago or
Yeah, and
3 years?
then there's a lot more than we need to do right now, right? Because just easy
Yeah.
apply. I mean, everybody knows easy apply now, right? So within
Hmm.
minutes or hours of any job going up, you see dozens or hundreds of applicants for any given job. So you have to do more, right? So
Hmm.
there's no magic bullet. It's not like, oh yeah, in one day you will get a job. No, you have to do a lot more. You have to apply. You have to follow up. You have to say the right thing. You want to connect with them. You want to show them that you're actually different. Because in a world of mediocrity where everybody's average, you want to really stand out so that you cannot be compared to anyone else. The reason why 27-year-old Dylan, this guy, this amazing guy, got a job as a VP, right? And he 5X'd his compensation is because he was not showing up as everybody else. He was different. Otherwise, why would anyone pay him what they paid him and give him a VP role at 27 years old, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess recently I've been more interested in posting on LinkedIn. I've started out honestly just posting things I'm interested in, like AI related stuff, thoughts on the nature of work and how it's changing. So that's kind of what I've been posting. I have posted some e-commerce marketing specific things as well.
Hmm.
But I guess the way I look at it right now, and I could be totally wrong, but it's all about creating more evidence of you are who you say you are. And
Yeah.
a resume means it's still obviously very important to optimize the resume. That's what, honestly, I think that was probably the biggest thing when I did the program a few years ago. But I think one thing that's changed in the market is there's just more applicants in general. People apply from overseas. Um, Companies might be a little pickier right now, and so I think anything you can do, and again, this isn't gospel. I haven't spoken to Brian about this. I don't know if all of this is like integrated into the program or not. But I think anything you can do to create more pieces of evidence that you are who you say you are is
Yeah.
helpful. So if you have, I guess it totally depends on your career path. But if you're a graphic designer and you apply for a job and it's just like a resume, it's like, well, are they good? Like, so posting your graphics on LinkedIn, right? Creating a
Yeah.
portfolio of some kind, creating a portfolio of, it could be whatever you are, like a video editor, a software engineer, all these things. I think any more evidence you can create of the kind of work that you do is helpful. So that would be my thought on posting content.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. You want employers to come. Think about this for everybody here watching. Okay, what's more powerful, for you to reach out to someone for a career opportunity, for you to be applying, or for them to find you?
Mm,
Probably know the answer, right? If they
hmm.
find you, they feel like, oh my God, I found this golden nugget in all this sea of applicants and users and content and so on. I found the one. I was talking to someone, I won't say the name because he's going through this right now. And he was like, I went through 400 profiles and I found yours. And I
Mm,
want you to go through the interview. So a recruiter found him and said, I want you to go through this interview. This is for a very high position at the SVP CTO level, okay,
mm,
executive position. So, but what is he doing to be able to attract people? First of all, you need to have your LinkedIn profile aligned with your resume. You need to
mhm,
first, actually, let's backtrack for just for a second. And Dylan also had this clarity. You need to have clarity. where you want to go. A lot of people, they are saying, oh, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this, these different roles. I say, no, wait a second. Yes, you could do all of those, but which one brings you the most happiness, joy, excitement, fulfillment, and financial wealth? There has to be one that stands out to you and that is aligned with the type of life that you want to live. So which one is it out of the four? Oh, this one. Okay, great. Then let's go for that one. Let's not apply to everything. Oh, yeah, but I was applying to that one and I wasn't landing any interviews or receiving any job offers, and that's why I basically broaden my applications, my pool. I say, well, that's not the solution. The solution is to understand what you're struggling with. In the case of Dylan, he was just mentioning that he was able to, prior to meeting us, he had landed like one or two interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he changed his strategy, his approach, he was able to land 25 interviews in a single week. He landed 7 or 8 interviews in a single day.
Mm-hmm.
He had clarity, and then he had the right resume that understood, that spoke to what the market is looking for, right? Remember, Dylan, yeah, with one resume, right? Did you actually have multiple versions of your resume, or you had a single resume?
I think it
How
was
many
just one.
versions?
I think
Just
I
one.
think I I think it was just one.
Right, because we spent time crafting a single version of the resume that spoke to what the market was looking for. Once you have that one version of your resume, then what do you do next? You align your LinkedIn profile to that one version of your resume. And then you
Mm-hmm.
configure it correctly, just like we were showing just a moment ago. Again, not to pick on this person, but you see, I have no idea who this person is. And if I wanted to connect with, now I have to go out of my way to understand who this person is. I might forget. So you really want to stand out and you want to be seen, right? And with regards to content, part of the strategy nowadays, because there's so much competition, is about really being out there, being visible so that others can find you and be like, oh, this person is different. But I have good news. The good news is that on LinkedIn, most users don't feel comfortable posting. So they don't post,
Right.
let alone forget about doing video and doing something live. Well,
Mm-hmm.
like you're in a handful of people who are actually doing live, but nothing stops you other than yourself, right? All
Mm-hmm.
these tools are available to us. But most people just choose to look from the sidelines and apply to one job at a time. And anyway, it's complex. It's not rocket science, but it's complex. Dylan did it, and he told you he was not like Einstein, going through school. It's not like he had some crazy knowledge that nobody else did. He was normal, right? What was your average? Your GPA? You were saying, was it 4.0?
My college GPA.
Yeah.
No. I was just saying, like, it's hard to get into that school from high school.
Yeah.
Most people need a 4.0. In college, my GPA was probably like 3.5 or something like that.
Okay, so normal. Nothing
Yeah, yeah.
like, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do get reached out to about once a week for new roles.
Amazing. And why do you think that is? Tell me from your perspective. Why do you think that they are still reaching out to you, even though you're not applying for jobs? Why do you think that they are reaching out to you?
Oh, one thing, my profile says open to work, because why not? That was a
Not
mistake I
not
made.
with a watermark, by the way. Not with a not with
No,
the
no, I
configuration.
learned that from Brian. That looks desperate, which makes total sense when you think about it. It's kind of
So
messed up. It's kind of messed up because, when people don't have a job, those are the people that really need jobs. But there's it's like a psychology thing when you do have a job, companies want to feel like they're stealing you.
yes,
They want to feel like they're poaching you from like a great situation.
absolutely.
So it's
So
kind of messed up, but they want to feel like, oh my god, he's working for Apple Computer and we're stealing him, and his employers are gonna cry later because we're stealing him. That's I'm not saying they're consciously feeling that way, but that's like the subconscious dialogue that's going on.
the analogy that I typically use to describe this, to help people visualize this, is like a dealership. Have you ever seen a used car dealership? Right? They open the hood, or maybe they paint on the windshield and they say sale, and discount, and you have that type of experience. And then you have Rolls Royce or Ferraris. Have you ever seen a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce with a for sale sign and painted on the doors or on the windshield or with the hood open? No, why
Yeah.
not? Because a Rolls Royce doesn't need to be advertised. People want it. Ferrari, the
Right.
same thing. So you guys watching this, you're a Ferrari, you're a Rolls Royce. So make yourself look like one. The moment that you put the open to work, it's game over. Like, yes, there is a setting behind the scenes. If you want to configure things properly, you can use a setting behind the scenes to still show up for recruiters who are looking for someone like you, but do not put the open to work watermark. It doesn't help you. Makes you look desperate. Okay.
Mm.
There's a question here from Kevin. Kevin, great to see you. I used to work with Kevin. Kevin, how long was the runway from starting with Brian to when these opportunities started coming your way? How long did it take? Do you remember? I mean, it's been like 3 years, something like that.
I think that I joined your program I have a pretty good memory with dates. I think I joined in June 2025,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm sorry, June 2022, and I landed a job offer, the one that I chose, in August. So it was
Okay.
2 months. And
Great.
at the time, we were doing our resume ourselves back then. I don't know how you're doing it now. If you might be doing it sometimes. So
No, not
that
anymore. You know what? Not anymore. People, I don't let people do that anymore. Why? Well, I will explain in a second. Go ahead, and then I will explain in a second.
Well, anyway, I was just saying that part took me. I was very meticulous with that part, so that part took me like 3 weeks at least.
Mm-hmm.
So just getting through the program before like really like seriously applying was like probably 3 to 4 weeks. So I
Yeah.
would say from when I was actually applying, it was like 4 to 6 weeks before I landed a job. So that was my experience.
So I'm glad in a way that you brought it up because some time ago, let's say a year ago, we decided to actually stop having people write their own resumes. Just to
Hmm.
give a little bit of background, since you brought it up, why? I mean, most people who come to us, they are like, I just want to switch jobs. I mean, with my desired job conditions, I want to have options. I want to choose the right one for me. Awesome. People are really not interested in learning how to write their resumes. Eventually, yeah, maybe they are interested in learning to see what was that actually helped them land the 25 interviews or 7, 8 interviews in a single day. What is it? How did you do it? But not in the beginning when they are feeling like the pressure, because they were told that they're about to be laid off or
Mm,
because they're in a toxic environment or so on. Like they have so much weight on their shoulders. They just want to switch jobs. So one of the things that I realized was, and by the
mm,
way, there's some people who actually hate writing or they're
right.
not good at writing. So I was like, why are we still teaching people how to write their resumes? I was like, you know what? Why don't we stop with that? Why don't we actually write people's resumes ourselves? And in that way, we can also be more efficient. You can get to market much faster. And then we were able to shorten
Right.
that lead time instead of taking 3 4 weeks for you to actually write your own resume because people get dispersed, they get, there's so many notifications now and text messages and social media and so on. People get distracted. So why don't we do it? And in under 1 week, we give you your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and then all you need to prepare is your interview skills, your negotiation skills. We explain to you how not to shoot yourself on the foot so that when they ask you, hey, how much do you want to make or how much are you currently making, you say the right things to be able to actually command the compensation that you actually want and deserve, right? So that way we are able to get to market much faster. Within a week, you should be able to start applying for jobs as opposed to taking 3 to 4 weeks to get to market. So if you were to do this all over again today, this would actually take you 3 4 weeks total.
I
Okay.
think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, in this market, speed is everything. So if you can
Absolutely.
shorten that in half, it makes a ton of sense.
Wait, this guy just you don't know this, Dylan, and nobody knows this. This guy, Mukasa Eric, amazing guy, amazing guy. He was able to increase his compensation by the way, how are you, Mukasa? I hope you're doing amazing. This guy was able to increase his compensation by, I'll tell you in 1 second. Hold on, because I need to do the math. Hold on 1 second. It was a crazy number. Okay. 15 times. Like imagine whatever your compensation is. Like if you're underpaid, this guy was severely underpaid. He increased his compensation 15 times. He just did exactly what I asked him to do, and he increases 15 times.
Wow.
Kevin, hey Brian, you're both doing a great session. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. My story. Maybe one day we need to share your story, Mukasa. You're an amazing guy. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for always supporting me. Dylan, what else? With regards to, okay, you landed a ton of interviews, and then you told talk to us about the way that you showed up was not what your dad was advising you to do, which may have worked in the 1980s or earlier.
Yeah.
You change your approach, and then hold on. Okay, a lot of people care about compensation. They care about really having the right job conditions. Ultimately, who cares about how many interviews, even though you landed 25 in a week and 7, 8 in a single day? And then you receive a job offer, or actually multiple job offers, and you cancel some of these other job offers. But ultimately, people want to know, how do you get the right job conditions, right? And how did you avoid leaving money on the table? I want to ask you, Dylan, to see if you remember. Do you, do you remember how we negotiated that first job offer? I mean, the job that you actually ended up
Yeah.
accepting. Do you remember it?
Yeah. So
What do you remember? Tell me what you remember.
yeah, so I received an offer. I probably won't disclose the exact amount, but
Yeah.
I received an offer that was okay, but not great. And I knew there were more offers coming from other companies in the next week, so I knew I had like the leverage there. Um, and basically, we were negotiating on how to go. I think it was like 20, 25, maybe up to it ended up being like 40% higher because of the bonuses I ended up getting and things like that. Um, and I think if I recall correctly, you were telling me, no, you have to wait or something like that. You were like, wait. And then we
Okay.
ended up waiting like way longer than you advised, like a
Wait. Okay.
full
Let
day
me
or
fill
something.
in the blanks, because I remember
Yeah.
I will take this story to my afterlife. I will come back and I will still tell this story, which was insane. So listen to this, guys. So Dylan gets the job offer. Okay. So all the people who work with us, they share their job offer. So we review them, we see if there's room. We do an assessment to see whether we should be negotiating hard or not, or how tactful we need to be with the offer based off the situation where people are. So anyway, I say to Dylan, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a template. Okay. Do you remember this, Dylan? I'm
Yeah.
going to give you a template. Just remember. I'm going to give you a template, and you're going to edit this template, and then you're going to share it with me, because I'm very specific about how things are written. I just want to make sure that you have every last period in the right place. So anyway, Dylan, he says, okay, sounds good. He takes it away. He edits the template. He sends it back to me and say, okay, this is perfect. So anyway, we did wait longer because Dylan forgot to realize that there was a time zone difference. So when I said that, hey, we need to send it at this specific time, he was thinking about his own time zone as opposed to the employer's time zone. Anyway, so we missed it by a few hours. And then he sends off this email. So it was an email. He sends off the email. And then shortly after, he sends me a message. Remember this on WhatsApp? So you sent me a message and you said, Brian, I'm thinking about calling the employer, calling my manager. Do you remember this?
Yeah, it sounds. Are you saying I like panicked a little bit?
Yes.
That's probably
Yes.
something that did
Yes.
happen. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I see this message from on WhatsApp, and I immediately called Dylan and I said, Dylan, like I didn't want him to actually do anything. I didn't want I wanted to stop him from actually calling anybody. So I called him up. I said, Dylan, yes, I'm about to book a flight to California. I'm going to come. I'm going to kill you. He's like, he's like, I remember vividly, like if it was yesterday. You were like, what, why? I was like, did I ask you to actually call anybody? And he was like, no. But I was thinking, I was like, please trust me with this. Like, do you trust me? And he's like, yeah, of course. I mean, I landed 25 interviews in a single week because of you. And I received a job offer because of you. I was like, just trust me. You're not our guinea pig. I promise you it works. So he's like, okay, so what do I do? So what do I do now that I sent off that email? I was like, just do what you did the other day. Just go party with your friends, go get drunk, do whatever you want. Just stay put. Don't do anything. And then the next morning, what happened, Dylan? They came back to you with
I got the offer I wanted.
with 40 or 50% higher salary.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he could have literally left 40, 50% on the table just by not asking for it. So
Mhm.
the recommendation is the following: have leverage, have multiple job offers, truly stand out from everyone else. Why would they pay you more if they can just hire somebody else? And do ask for what you want
Mhm.
strategically, but do ask for what you want. If you don't ask for it, they're not going to give it to you. Right. So in many cases, People assume that employers are actually lowballing you, that they are, oh, they're trying to pay me less, but they don't necessarily know that the market has shifted, that they should be paying you more. Um, and if you are able to articulate that, first of all, you truly stood out and you have multiple job offers and other employers are actually paying you more, then they're more likely to actually want to pay you what you deserve and what you want.
Mhm.
Okay. So anyway, interesting stuff. Um, what else, Dylan? You want to share anything else?
No, I was just gonna say, like, sometimes you just have to turn your brain off, And I think there's so much information out there now, and a lot of us are overthinking. I'm certainly guilty of that. And so with that story, I think the lesson is like, just turn your brain off. You're working with an expert. You trusted them to spend your money on the program. And I've had other things I've been involved in where that's also the case, where sometimes you might be a smart person and but you're over analyzing, and sometimes it's good to just like turn it off and trust. And so that's what I did in that situation, and it worked out. But there's like a deeper lesson there, I think, which
Uh,
is that just trust the process.
I'm glad that you bring that up because I've struggled with that myself. I have my own mentor as well, right? I've invested a ton of money. My partner and I, we've invested so much money over the last 5.5 years, and we struggle with this exactly with what you just mentioned, Dylan. Where, oh no, I know better. Like, so why are you paying someone else, or why are you trusting someone else, or following someone else if you're going to do things your way, right? I mean,
Hmm.
if you decide to trust someone, may as well just follow their guidance. You can ask questions if something doesn't make sense, but if you know the what, you know the how, and you know the why you're doing things that way, just give it a shot. Clearly, what you were doing before was not working, so may as well just follow someone else's
Hmm.
guidance, right? Um, I want to share with everyone what Dylan went through in more detail so that you can also start to get your feet wet and you start to understand in actual detail what it is that he did to be able to land so many interviews, to be able to receive so many job offers in such a short period of time, and to be able to negotiate and walk away with his desired job conditions. This coming week, we have um, it's an event that we've been working on for the last 8 months. We poured our hearts and souls into this. And this event, it's only limited to 100 people. Okay. You may have seen how many people are following me on LinkedIn, but I want to make sure that everybody has an amazing experience and we're able to dedicate so much time to be able to be there for them that everybody's able to benefit from this big time. So we're capping it to only 100 people. So the seats are actually going away quickly. And this is going to be an event where it's 1 hour per day with me live. I will be there live every single day, okay, Monday through Friday. And it's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, so 5 p.m. Pacific. And find your time zone 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7, 8, based off your time zone. But basically, every single day, and we're going to go through every single detail that Dylan went through, and 1,000 plus other senior professionals have gone through to be able to switch jobs with their desired job conditions, to be able to attain what we call the ultimate position of power. What is that? You happen to be employed. Now you have multiple job offers. Now we are in, or you are in what we call the ultimate position of power. How to leverage, first of all, how to get into that ultimate position of power, and second of all, and most importantly, how to actually leverage that ultimate position of power to be able to have the job that you want with your desired job conditions. So we're starting this on Monday. Grab a seat. What do you think, Dylan? Looking back and having gone through what you have gone through, would you recommend anyone to actually go through this, knowing what you know about us?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It worked great for me, and I can't. I think this is the best. Brian's the best person in the world at helping people land jobs in this market.
I appreciate it.
So that's what I can say. It worked for me, and Brian's amazing. So
I appreciate it. It's still working, by the way. It is. I don't know if it's going to work in 2, 3 years from now, but we will keep on adapting. But right now, it is still working. So if you are in a situation where you know you're in a job that it's toxic, or you're undervalued, under recognized, you don't have the responsibilities that you're looking for, you don't have work-life balance. We were interviewing Daniel. I don't know if you got a chance yesterday to see Daniel, for those of you here watching, but basically we were able to go from $120,000 to $238,000, but he also had a job offer for $483,000. But he chose work-life balance. He chose to be able to work remote. He chose to find fulfillment. So as much as we all love making money, there has to be some balance, right? Like, what's more important than money? Living the life that you want with your desired job conditions, right? Being respected, being treated with dignity, with respect, with appreciation, with kindness, and having the job that you really want, that you look forward to every single day of the week, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. That you're not. I was in that situation as well myself, where I was always looking forward to the weekend because I was not in a place where I really loved what I was doing. I was not being compensated fairly for the value that I was providing. So you're not a tree, you're not a plant. If you're not in the right place, you have to move. And if you've been trying for a while and it's not working out, join us next week. We're going to go for 5 days, and you will walk away with the understanding of the strategy that Dylan has leveraged to be able to switch jobs and with his desired job conditions. Okay. Dylan, anything else? Any final remarks? I'd love to have you again in the future. This is not the first time we do this. It's been a while, but I'd love to have you sometime in the future again. And there are so many questions in the comments, by the way, in the comments of the post also. So I will flip them to
Hello?
you and maybe, yeah.
Oh, sorry, you cut out for a second.
Yeah, for anyone, feel free to reach out to either Dylan, myself, both. Just happy to point you in the right direction. But take action, help yourself. Maybe finish the year with a job that you actually want. Okay. Any final remarks? Anything else that you want to share?
No, yeah, just if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I've taken quite a few phone calls this year from people that are thinking about joining. And honestly, I don't work for Next Badge or for Brian. I just do these kinds of calls and interviews every once in a while just because I really believe in it. So I don't make any money at all from this, and I'm not trying to. I'm just here to say what I know helped me a lot. So, and because Brian's a friend, that's why I do it. There's no incentive for me to like tell you anything that hasn't been the case. All I can tell you
Yeah,
is what my experience was.
I appreciate it immensely. And just to say how much he actually does care to pay it forward, to give back to society, to make sure that other people benefit and live the lives that they want to live. I called him once a few years ago after we saw success and we switched jobs and so on. I called him up, and I don't know if you remember, Dylan, you were at the gym. And I called him out and he was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm at the gym." I was like, "Do you want to jump on a LinkedIn Live?" He's like, "Now?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yeah, give me 5 minutes." So remember that one? So he's always
Yeah, that
always
sounds
happy,
familiar.
always happy to help and to pay it forward. So I appreciate it immensely, Dylan. Thank you for being here. And for everybody else, take action so that you can live the life that you want and you can start 2026 with a job and the job conditions that you really want. Okay. Dylan has done it. 1,000 plus other people have done it before you. We'll guide you next week. Okay. Switch jobs now and we'll start next week. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thanks a
Cheers.
lot, guys. Thanks,
Thanks,
Brian.
everybody. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.